if you identify as a codependent, if you went on YouTube, you typed in your little codependent versus narcissism video, and you feel like, oh yes, I'm a codependent. I'm a people pleaser. I need help about this because I keep putting other people before me. You should know that you're not that different from a narcissist. And I would even say, and this is my personal opinion, you're actually a narcissist. And this is something that I want to get into in this video. So who am I? My name is João, and I run this Approaching Authenticity channel where we find the intersection between productivity, spirituality, and mental health, which I believe are all related, of course. I am a space engineer. I work in AI, now work in the business aspect of the company. I don't own the company, I just work there. And I'm very passionate about mental health and productivity, which are topics who I really had to struggle with for most of my life. And I still am, and I'm learning, and I want to share my lessons with you. So, codependency. Most of my life, I grew up in a narcissistic, let's say, my parents' dynamic was kind of a narcissistic codependent dynamic, and I myself fell more towards I would say the codependent side, but I want to make a clear distinction here that codependency and narcissism are not that different. And why are they so similar, apparently? Even though I know this is going to be very controversial, but I'm going to explain to you why. So, narcissism and codependency have a very similar origin story, which is something I talk about all the time in this channel, which is trauma. So narcissists and codependents alike, they go through difficult emotions, especially during our childhood. I mean, we all do, and we all have degrees of it to a certain extent, but the goal is to get wholesome and clear all that negativity as your life goes on. And I talk about that on other videos about meditation, trauma release. But what I wanted to say is exactly how the origin of codependency and narcissism comes about is you experience trauma, and then there's different degrees of the repression of the trauma emotion. So if you completely repress the trauma, you get into narcissism, because now you're consciously not aware of your pain, and so you disregard feeling almost completely to a point where you just feel rage and you feel the dopamine rush from winning. And that's why narcissists, they're so excited about superficiality and through winning and the dopamine hit. So you see guys like Andrew Tate, he's obviously a narcissist, and they always have to big themselves up. Yeah, I'm the top G, I'm the trigger don. By the way, I fucking love his nickname. It is like, the guy's hilarious, but it's also very sad because you can see that the guy went through a lot of pain and he repressed it to a point where he just disregarded it. And yes, he may achieve success in the physical, but this is not a life you want to lead. And believe me, I was also a narcissist before, and I know exactly what it feels like. It feels like everyone around you is dumb because they have to deal with all these like emotions. And yourself, you're just the guy who knows better than everyone else. And you have these big grandiose plans, and you couldn't give a fuck about how everyone else is doing and what their life is going on. This is like completely raw honest. Like, you just don't give a fuck. But what narcissists don't understand, and this is like so subtle, and they'll never listen because they're just so addicted to winning in this physical sense that they don't have a palate, especially if they repressed a lot of their trauma. They don't have like a palate to appreciate another way of feeling satisfied with yourself. The thing is, they're in so much pain that they just repress that pain, and all they can feel is the dopamine win. Like, it's just the intelligence of the bodies running them. And so they don't understand that they're in pain. They're in so much pain that they don't understand that they're in pain. And so they think they're winning. But when you start to do work on yourself as a narcissist, and this is going to be very rare because it's very rare that I didn't have a strong degree of narcissism, but if you do, it's very rare that you get to do the work because you just feel like you're winning and you don't have a reference. And society also encourages you to get all the superficial things that we all know and love, right? The cars, the women. Just watch Andrew Tate's channel and know what I'm talking about. So it's very difficult for narcissists to heal, but if you're, on the other hand, a codependent, what happens is that you experience trauma as a kid, but you didn't repress all of it. So as a codependent, you're still aware, you can still feel your pain, but then you try and ask for other people to heal that pain from you. So you're not that different from a narcissist because you don't really care about other people. You just care about them remedying your pain. You just use them as a way to plug that hole that you feel within you. But that hole that you feel, narcissists have it too. They just don't feel it. And so they don't have the mechanism to go around and find things to latch onto that pain. They just try to big themselves up because they can't even cope They can't even allow themselves to feel 1% of the pain they go through. Whilst you, as a codependent, you can feel some of that pain. And you can tell, okay, I people please, I want people to like me all the time, because you feel this pain. They don't feel that pain consciously, but it's still there. So that's the key distinction. So what I'm trying to say is that you're not so far away from the narcissists, because you also don't really care about the other person who's giving you the validation or the approval. You don't care, and it's okay not to care. Because the big trap that I see with codependents is that they make themselves as the good guy. Like, oh, I care so much about people. Oh, these narcissists are so evil. They don't care about anyone. You also don't care about anyone, dude. You also don't give a fuck. You just want them to plug in that hole of love that you have gushing out of you, because you don't want to face your trauma. You don't want to face the pain that you felt when you were younger. And so you're just looking for people to give you approval, to have a quick fix of that pain. But that's not the way. As I said, I'm always going to say the same thing, because it actually is what works. The only way you can get out of that pain is through letting go, is through meditating, going through the sensations that you feel in your day-to-day life, the feeling that you have right before you hit your TikTok scroll of the day. Right before that, you have this sensation like, no, I want to go on TikTok. And that sensation is where all the information is. It's exactly at that moment, because you feel the need to escape, and then you escape. So to conclude this video, you're not so different from narcissists. If you're a codependent, you're not so different from a narcissist. They just have more pain than you probably, and they felt it in such an intense way they just repressed it out of their consciousness. And then they tell themselves, no, I'm the best, I'm the top G, I'm the triggered on, yeah. And they just have to keep themselves feeling like they're winning, because if they don't, they cannot cope with the pain. You at least, you probably repressed plenty of it, but you still feel it. And that's amazing for you, because from feeling that pain, you can use it as your guide. Like Teal Swan says, like, pain is your teacher. And I agree completely. Pain is your teacher, because when you go to the pain, you'll find what you need to let go of. So yeah, I know this video is a bit controversial, but if you like this kind of content, which is more authentic and, let's say, unique, and I also guess I have kind of a unique perspective, just hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.